Alright folks, welcome to episode 50 of the Wee Podcast. Phil here with Clarky.
Hello.
Just want to say a big thanks to all the people that have listened to all 49 episodes and hopefully will listen to this one as well. Today is quite a special one as it is our 50th, and this episode literally needs no introduction whatsoever.
Hi heroes, this is Stan Lee coming at you. Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister. And that kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider. We're all part of one big family, the human family, and we all come together in the body of Marvel. And you're part of that family. You're part of the Marvel universe that moves ever upward and onward to greater glory. In other words, Excelsior!
What a legend, eh?
Yeah,
It's kind of tough seeing all these videos and stuff on Twitter.
I know. It is. It's funny. It almost feels like you've lost someone you really know.
I know.
But do you?
Well, I suppose you do. I mean,
in a way, like
you do really, because I mean, you've watched basically him go from, well, we haven't obviously because we weren't born then, but you know, literally nothing to.
I know we're 99 years old.
99, yeah. But we've just sort of seen him grow with every success, really, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've certainly seen what you can reap whenever you sow genius. Basically, you know,
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, certainly grown up. You think of the cartoons we watched, the books you would have read, the toys you would have had.
You see, it's funny, I read a tweet earlier on, I think it was today or yesterday, I think it was Gene Simmons wrote something,
right,
saying about how he, like, Stan Lee's basically made his childhood better, and I was like, jeez, you're old, like,
yeah,
and like, I was like, imagine Stan Lee making that fella's childhood, you know.
Yeah, well, you see, think about it, 95 years,
95.
like, he was so close to 96, but 95 is like,
It's insane.
that is old.
Well, I was saying earlier on, it was like 10 years ago he received an award from George Bush. It was 85 years old. Like 10 years ago to me, it's like, oh, it's quite young then.
I was in like third year.
Yeah, and he's like 85 years old. Like, that's still quite a milestone to hit.
It is mad, but then it's the same sort of thing. Like, sometimes whenever I realise he was 95, whenever I think of my granny, she was 94, and you think, you're like, my word, that is old.
It's a long life to live, like especially
really.
You think the amount of things you'd have seen growing up as well, like how many things you've been a part of.
Especially them, because they obviously would have went through
War.
I mean, certainly, war.
War is a big thing. Like, we haven't really seen much of war.
Well, no.
No, we know there was a war.
Yeah, two.
But we know it wasn't really much of. We didn't do that. Like, we didn't really.
No, it's way before our time.
Yeah, we didn't have anything.
We've just reaped the benefits of, again, the victory.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, if you could even
Which I suppose
call
fits
it
in
that.
very kindly and nicely with the fact that it was Remembrance Sunday.
Yeah. He even posted a thing there the other day, didn't he?
Did he? Oh yes, thanking the veterans. Yeah, I did see that, because they have a Veterans Day.
Veterans Day, yeah.
Yeah, the 11th. Yeah, no, crazy, and
The 11th, yeah, it's day after he died as well. It's awful.
yeah, and that's in the day.
Yeah.
He died on the 12th. Yeah, really is, and obviously with himself. Well, it's obviously maybe spoils a bit for later, but being a veteran himself, was in the war.
I mean,
Second World War.
I dare say anybody that's listening to this would probably know a good thing about him. Like, I mean, considering that's probably one of the things that he didn't really talk about an awful lot. But
no, I mean, as well as with himself, I think we've probably said it on here before, but the term genius is thrown around, and I don't think there's many. I mean, you could probably put him up there with the likes of geniuses such as Walt Disney and
definitely.
those sort of guys that have just.
It's the same sort of thing. I mean, Walt
Changed the
Disney
world.
made he made something that's, huge still to the day, and
And
Stanley's.
now owns Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not that he invented Marvel, but
No.
obviously he played a massive part in it. So
Yeah, it's crazy to think. Crazy to think, especially it's weird even to think now as well. These films are gonna come out now, whereas you're like,
you'll miss the cameos. I
Yeah.
really will, because
I'll miss them. Like, they're one of my
You think-
favorite things. I used to wait all the time until they came in. It was like, Stanley hasn't appeared yet. Something wrong.
just wait. Exactly. Like, it's funny because, as you say, it's almost not even just the toys, but even in this Marvel, the MCU, the MCU run,
Gender.
the MCU run, obviously that goes from like 2008 to now.
Today. Yeah.
We've seen him in every film, and that's not including, as you say, the cameos, things as far back as the 80s. But
Yeah, we wouldn't have seen him in that, unfortunately.
no, but I mean, even if you think 2002 and
I know,
Spider-Man
it's still
and
quite a long
so
time
on and
ago.
so forth, there's just so many. And as you say, in Lego games, he appeared there. He appeared in the Spider-Man game. He's just had his. Yeah, he's just everywhere.
He's just been constant ever since he's retired. Like,
Yeah, and did he ever? That's the thing. Can you ever even say?
well, he stopped comics in the 70s, and then he started cameos in 89. So,
But between those times,
he
he
was still
was
doing
always
stuff.
doing something.
Yeah.
Um,
he had retired from obviously making comics and stuff and writing things, but his mind never stopped working.
he
That's the
didn't.
thing.
He didn't stop.
No, but like
He still released others.
yeah, but he
so,
never sort of like, was it under the Marvel name? Was it?
It depends. There's a few all over the show. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't like a full time all the time.
Yeah.
But he did release. He still did co-write things.
Yeah.
As he went. But yeah, like as you say, I mean, whenever he stopped writing full time, he still.
Dabbled.
I you know what? I would never say he ever retired, because
No,
he still had that
it'd be
lifetime
unfair to say.
contract, like with Marvel, and
Yeah.
in that contract it stated that he apparently had to appear in these films and he had to make certain appearances and whatever. Obviously, health permitting, but
I don't think he'd really care. I think if he was on
Yeah.
his deathbed, he'd still go and try.
he'd want to exactly.
Which
I
is the
mean,
crazy thing to even think about, really. Like.
speaks volumes.
But I mean, if you had that job as well, and you were told, you have to appear in these films, and it's a contractual agreement. Really? Nah, I don't really. You would never say no.
No,
You'd be
exactly.
Like, I'd do that
Exactly.
in a heartbeat. I would do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you've seen all the tributes from the actors. Even did you see Tom Hardy had one as well?
No.
Yeah, he was. He had a picture of just standing beside him. He was sitting on. Stanley was sitting on the wee chair, one of the wee sort of actors' chairs, and he was just standing behind him, and they were just having a wee picture. It was cool.
Oh, that's nice.
And obviously that film's very, very recent. So
Yeah, Venom, which I've never seen yet, actually.
Good.
Yeah, I might have a little
worth a watch
whenever it comes out in like another 3-4 months or whatever.
I won't be long. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't released next month or.
Oh, before Christmas.
Actually, no, maybe January time. But it's worth a watch. It's a good film.
It's nice to see all the celebrities and stuff paying tribute to him online.
Yep.
Not a fan of that Army Hammer we read earlier on though, but kind of strange. You
No.
would even say, I can understand where he's coming from to a certain point of view.
Soitin.
Starting to speak like Stanley now as well. To a certain point of view, but I mean, even still, it's a bit. You don't say that. Like,
No.
you let people grieve. People grieve and how they want to grieve, and they want to say their own thing. They want to say their own thing.
Exactly. I mean, I don't mind if people post pictures with themselves with them, because a silly example, but say for example you ever dropped your phone somewhere and you didn't have it backed up, you're always gonna have that photo.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be there, and probably just reminds me I should probably back up my phone, but
Yeah, I don't know.
but as you say, people do weird things and whenever they're grieving, and
Yeah, but no one should be made to feel
like they're
it's
doing it
about-
wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's
There is no way.
there's no right or wrong way to do it, and yeah, it's funny because you see some people write like a big blurb, like Kevin Smith wrote a big long thing,
Yeah.
and then I almost find the more like the smaller ones to even be more poignant. Like Robert Downey Jr. was something just like I owe you everything.
Yeah, which is very true. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you said earlier on, he basically built the man back up from nothing again. Like.
He was...
Not to say that Robert Downey didn't make any work. I mean, of
No,
course,
he's
he
very
made the
talented.
role, of course,
Yeah.
but, you know, I dare say Stanley had some sort of...
Tony Stark wouldn't exist without him.
Yeah, exactly.
So that role would never have existed had
Yeah.
he never come up with it. But it's a whole big thing that
They're all connected in one way or another. Now.
Exactly. It all leads back to December 28th, 1922, when Stanley Martin Lieber was born in New York.
New York.
Yeah.
Such a strong accent that man has.
Isn't it? It's mad. So obviously his real name isn't Stan Lee.
It is?
Well, not his birth name. Sorry, wasn't
His name
Stanley.
is Stanley? Just depends on what way you want to say. If you say Stanley
If you
or
only say his first name.
Stanley.
But he obviously he was born Stanley Martin Lieber. He had one younger brother as well. He was called Larry Lieber. I don't know why that got so funny.
Alliteration at its finest.
Larry Lieber.
Larry Lieber. It's a German name, Lieber, isn't it?
What?
Lieber, it sounds German.
It is Romanian-born Jewish parents.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Lieber.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, probably I would assume, because of when it was, he was born in the 20s. I would assume
Yeah.
that they were probably immigrants that came from Germany to
Yeah.
Romania after the First World War, and then
Makes
probably came to
sense.
America for some
Yeah.
respite.
Yeah.
But so yeah, born then, and at 17 years of age, he got his first job with Timely Comics in 1939 as an assistant.
You think how mad that is? At 17 years old, he was already in.
Deciding that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And Timely, by the way, by the 1960s would have eventually become Marvel.
Yeah.
So he basically worked there his entire life, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's 78 years. Yeah.
Pension fund must be incredible.
78 years. Basically, here's a quote from him for what his duties were at the start. And if anyone's ever thinking, my job's crap, blah blah blah, this is one of those stories that he literally worked his way up from the bottom. So in those days, this is a quote, sorry. In those days, the artist dipped the pen in ink, so I had to make sure the ink wells were filled. I went down and got them their lunch. I did proofreading. I raised the pencils from the finished pages from them. That's all I did.
Yeah.
It was literally,
Proofreading's cool though. Cause
for sure.
Him reading through things, his mind must have been
Loving
all
it.
over the place. Like.
Absolutely loving it, exactly. So young Stanley Lieber made his comic book debut with the text filler Captain America Foils the Traitor's Revenge in Captain America Comics number 3, and that was in May 1941. So he started, within 2 years he'd written his first 2-page comic.
Yeah, he's very patriotic, man.
He used the pseudonym Stan Lee, and the reason he used that is because comic books had a really low social status, and he was actually embarrassed to use his real name. So he used the pen name so that nobody would actually associate Stan Lee with Stanley Lieber. Whenever he actually wanted to write the great American novel, whenever he grew up, which obviously, thankfully, he never did.
Yeah.
So basically, in the 1940s, people consider that the golden age of comics. So he also co-created Jack Frost and Father Time, who both in August 1941. Then late 1941, at 19 years old, he was installed as the interim editor of the comic, which is insane. Apparently, it was said that he showed 2 years, crazy. He was showed a knack for the business that led him to remain as the comic books division's editor-in-chief as well as art director for much of that time. So from 1941 to 1972, so 31 years, he remained and just worked his way up, and then he became publisher. So he worked his way all the way through writing all the rest. But within that time, in early 1942, he was actually drafted into the army.
Yeah.
He was in the Signal Corps, which meant he basically repaired telephone poles and other communications and things like that. And then he was transferred to a training film division where he worked writing manuals, training films, slogans, and actually cartooning sometimes as well. He got one of only 9 men in the US Army to be given the title of playwright, which is, I think, class.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that
not even 1 in 10, 1 in 9.
yeah, legitimately, like, it was just so unlikely that was ever going to happen, which is really cool. So he then met a lady called Joan Clayton Bucock, who was married at the time. And after 2 weeks, they decided to run away and get married. And
Does it say where he met her?
No.
Because she was born in Newcastle. I'm intrigued to see how she would have
In England.
managed to...
Yeah, Newcastle, England.
Yeah.
They no, it doesn't say, but it just says that she was married, and then they ran off to Reno after 2 weeks. She got divorced and then married him on the same day.
Same day, yeah.
Which was December 5th, 1947.
His birth month.
Yeah, literally. It's like 2 weeks before, well, just over 2 weeks before he turned, what age would he have been, 25, 26?
Yeah.
So
it's quite late getting married, isn't it?
Suppose they lived that long that they got very lucky that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
you imagine like 19, you usually get married about 19, 20.
Then, yeah. But like now, we're like, whoa, what are you doing getting married at 25? You had her?
Well, to be fair, it's different times, isn't it?
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
A lot, yeah.
They had a daughter called Joan Celia, or J.C. Lee.
J.C. Lee?
Born in 1950, so a couple of years after they got married. And then they had another child called Jan Lee in 1953, but unfortunately she passed away 3 days after being born, which is very sad.
2 daughters though?
Yep, 2 girls, so there's Lee legacy, or surname, certainly, except unless his brother carried it on. Will end with him. I don't know if his brother's still alive, unfortunately there's no mention of him. But anyway, so basically the first couple of superheroes he came up with were the Fantastic Four. I say couple. First 4 superheroes he came up with were the Fantastic Four, which were based off a superhero team called the Challengers of the Unknown, published by DC Comics. Ooh. Yeah. Then he also co-created the Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, X-Men, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the Avengers, Submariner, Captain America. I could go on. There's just any number of ridiculously popular superheroes and villains.
It's mad as well that like literally all of them came to life and not just one.
Yeah,
because you find like a comic writer's dream is to have one big break.
Hit. Yeah,
and he's had loads.
Untold amounts. Yeah. If you even think of, excuse me, they're the main protagonists. You're not even including, they're main characters. You're not even including the likes of Doctor Doom, Venom. Clyde. There's so many that just came off. Yeah. You know what he's done.
The villains and all even like they're just huge as well.
Oh, it's mad, isn't it? Unbelievable. And yeah, it's just you just go on. I literally almost said you could just marvel at it, but that wasn't even intentional. Oh. That was legitimately what was going to come out of my mouth, because it literally just makes you go like, wow. Wasn't even trying to make a pun. I swear to God. That was just one of those things in my head. Just you wait. No. So all the way through the 60s, so we've jumped a few years. Lee scripted, art directed, and edited most of the Marvel series. He moderated the letter pages, and then also wrote a monthly column called Stan's Soapbox, and that's where his trademark motto "Excelsior" at the end of everything came from. Yeah. He was very famous for knowing how to meet his deadlines and maintain his workload. He used a thing that became known as the Marvel method. So basically, the way it would work is, for example, say you were working with him, what you would do is you would sit down, you would brainstorm an idea, and then you would write down a brief synopsis rather than a script. So you would say, right, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Then based on the synopsis, say if you were the artist, you would then go away and he would say, right, 20 pages, make it happen. So you would fill 20 pages worth of art, of panels. So go on panel to panel, and then basically what would happen is you would give in the penciled pages to Stanley, and he would then write the word balloons, captions, and oversee the letter and colouring, and then that would be it. So basically it was, the artists weren't just artists, they were like co-plotters. Cause
I would love to have seen him actually do a comic.
Oh, in class.
I would have loved to see him, like what way he would have, like if he's the same person whilst creating the comic as he is outside of the, living the actual dream of being a comic writer. I think it'd be cool to see if he's like really, really strict, or if he's, because obviously he knows what he's talking about, like, so. Yeah,
like what is his method? Is it like, oh, that's a good idea, let's do that? Or is it like, no, I had this already? But what I'm taking from that as the brainstorm is that he wouldn't just come in and go, this is my idea. It's like it says here, in effect, the artists were co-plotters whose collaborative first drafts Lee built upon. So basically he you would give him a draft, and he would say, "Oh no, actually, let's do this, blah blah," change it up a bit, and then he would go back, and then they would go back and forward, and then brainstorm ideas. Really cool.
That's class. Like,
so a lot of people use that Marvel method now. It's not just Marvel anymore.
It's the magazine method now.
Exactly, and just the way he set like so many things up, like first African American superhero, Falcon, in 1969, and then a cool little thing sort of just shows what type of guy he was in 71.
The first African American one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, isn't it? And
it's
then
not the first black one though, is it? First black one was Black Panther.
Yeah, but this is the first African American, like is that specifically?
Yeah.
Specifically American. Obviously the black one, as you say, Black Panther.
Yeah.
But it sort of shows the type of guy he was in that in 71 he indirectly helped reform the comics code. So basically the US Department of Health, Education and Welfare had asked him to write a comic book about dangerous drugs, so he took that on and made a 3-issue plot, The Amazing Spider-Man, which now it's very very summarized basically, but Peter Parker's mate becomes addicted to prescription drugs, and basically the Comics Code Authority then refused to put its seal on it because they felt that the drug use in it was too heavy. They didn't like it, and that the anti-drugs context was actually considered irrelevant that way.
The fun fact that the mate was Harry Osborn, in fact.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Holy crap, I didn't know that.
Took pills. He was abusing pills because of a breakup.
Fair play. Very.
Not fair play, bad for him.
No, but I mean the way he's written the story, it's
it's
very much something that could very easily happen.
100%.
Yeah.
So screw the CCA for doing that.
Yeah, and basically he published it anyway.
I know.
Without the seal.
Good for him.
The comics sold well, and the CCA subsequently loosened the code to permit negative depictions of drugs, amongst other freedoms, which is great.
I'm very sorry. We should have.
We should have done this first. Exactly.
Good for him.
As well, within the soapbox I mentioned, basically he provided a measure of social commentary, so he would deal with like racism and bigotry quite often.
So you ever seen? It's crazy. It's just crazy the amount of stuff. Like I think he's probably one of the like mad ambassadors really for all that, wasn't he?
Yeah, hugely so, and that's the thing. I mean, it comes in perfectly along with, I suppose, sort of a clip we'll play about how a superhero with a mask can be anyone underneath, really, and it's one of those quotes that I suppose it's probably best. Do we just play it?
Yeah, we'll just play it.
I won't
just play it.
He says it better.
And it's very one of the very few comic book characters even back then that was covered from head to toe. Like if Captain America, you still have this much of his face. Spider-Man's completely enveloped in his costume.
Oh, you know the good thing about that?
Yes.
You could be any kid.
Yeah.
You could be black. You could be Asian. You could be Indian. You could be anything. And imagine you were in that costume.
Right.
So I think that made it relevant to everybody everywhere.
Right.
And that was accidental. I mean, I don't think we planned it that way, but it was very fortuitous.
There you go. Yeah. One of those things that, as I say, he's just one of those guys. Racism, bigotry didn't have a place. As he said at the very start in that clip we played at the start, that
doesn't matter.
Hate, all that sort of stuff. There's no place for it in Marvel at all.
Which is kind of crazy. You think, you think all these things about people's excuses of why they were, why they were racist and why they're bigots and stuff is because of the way they were brought up and stuff. That's completely fine. But at the same time, there's a man that was born in the 1920s, lived through all that, and still came out the other end
with a great attitude, the right attitude, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't afraid to address it either.
No, if anybody was to say it, he'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. And as you say, he was posting this once a month, right up until 72, when he actually stopped writing and he became the publisher of Marvel. Eventually, then later on, became the figurehead and a public face for Marvel. He would appear at conventions and in films and everywhere.
Yeah.
They needed a face. Everyone that I would be very surprised if there are that many people in the world who don't know who he is, because
I suppose if you're not in
he
your
is.
comics, maybe
He's just everywhere. Even
I know
so.
he is, but I don't think people would. I think it was actually a Facebook status I seen earlier on of someone I'm not going to mention had to Google who Stan Lee was.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I was like, you're a bad person.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Don't even tell me who that is.
I'm not going to tell you.
Because if I know
I think you'll know who it is. I think now you would know who it is.
then I'm probably not like that
Yeah.
anymore. So
You do. You still like them. It's okay.
We'll see. Better not have been you. But no,
Me?
But yeah. So obviously, and he was in the cameos. He played a lot of those, all that sort of stuff as well.
Which I absolutely loved from what
Yeah,
you said online as
just
well.
unbelievable, and just for anyone that doesn't know, he has filmed his Avengers 4, so he will be in Infinity War Part 2 or whatever it's going to be called.
Posthumously.
The next Avengers, he is going to be in that, but that will be the last one that he's in, from what we understand. Which will be a mighty shame, but what a better... I mean, if you could have picked one for it to be his last, I think that's an amazing one, because that's closing off a wonderful, wonderful run of films.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that still means he's going to appear in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So we've got a couple more. And that also would say to me that if they filmed anything else, I don't know if they have or not. I think they were working on one, but I don't know if they actually finished it, because they were working on Spider-Man. So I wonder if he is going to be in Spider-Man or
You'd
not.
hope so. Like, that's his baby, wasn't it? So.
But it would be a real shame if he wasn't, because but you know what, either way, if he has to go out in one, I think Infinity War, or whatever it's going to be called, the Avengers 4 is a good one.
Infinity War 2.
Infinity War 2 is going to be a great one.
It's a really stupid name. Infinity War 6 is Infinity War 2. It's still going on. No, I know.
But obviously his life wasn't all rainbows and wonderful things.
Rainbows and rabbits.
He his wife Joan, who he'd married, as we mentioned, they were together for 70 years before she died on July 6, 2017. She had a stroke and some complications from that. She also died at 95 years old. But what a wonderful, wonderful life that you're with someone for 70 years. That's just amazing. I mean, if people are lucky nowadays, you might get 40. 70 years. That's crazy. But then, as I say, it wasn't all roses either. In April 2018, so less than a year after his wife had passed, it was reported in the Hollywood Reporter that Stan Lee was actually a victim of elder abuse. That a lady called Kaya Morgan, who is his business manager and a memorabilia collector,
and
nonetheless.
Also a pleb.
And I don't think that's harsh enough. But she basically had been isolating him from his trusted friends and associates following his wife's death, in the hope of getting access to his wealth and his possessions.
That's disgraceful, isn't it?
Which is really horrible.
Understandable, she's a collector and all, but that's the wrong way you want to get them.
No, completely wrong. And you know what? It's worse the fact that, and maybe this is wrong for me to say this, but it's worse the fact that he's an old man.
Yeah.
But then in August 2018, that bitch was given a restraining order, and she had to stay away from him, his daughter, or any associates for up to 3 years, which obviously isn't going to be a problem anymore. But she can no longer go anywhere near his daughter or anything while she's still alive. And then obviously, unfortunately, on Monday the 12th of November 2018, in Cedar Sinai Medical Center in LA, after being rushed in for a medical emergency, he passed away at the age of 95 years old.
But no reason for it yet either, but he did say that he was battling pneumonia, you said, since February.
I mean, he'd been battling pneumonia, and then in February he was actually rushed into hospital for the same thing, for pneumonia, so it could well have been, but I don't want to speculate until...
No, there's no point. There's no point, but I mean, it's not too far after his wife's died anyway, so it's...
No, I mean, and as I said to you before, it's fun, it's funny sort of if you look at the comparisons, as I said, between my grandparents and them is that, as I said, my granny died at 94 in January 17, and my granda passed in September 18. You know, it's tough to, after you've been together for that long, to
let go.
Yeah, to have a life without them. You know, and 70 years it really is a lifetime. I mean, for some people,
I can't even imagine living 70 years or
I know.
married 70 years.
No, legitimately, like 70 years of marriage with one person after being together at the start for 2 weeks. That's
weird.
That is when you know you know.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I think 2 weeks that's crazy, isn't it? Like,
it's nuts. Might not have been 3 dates. Nowadays.
Could have been every day though for them, you know.
But I mean, like nowadays, like you might have only been out 2 or 3 times.
If even.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're like, ooh, gotta play it cool. Do you want to get married? No.
Who even does that? Like, gotta play it cool.
But you know, like you can't be like, oh, let's go out every day, because that's a bit nuts.
You want to see that? No, I don't want to see it today.
Do you want to go to Reno and get married? What?
Yeah. I'd get divorced first, you mean?
Yeah.
I think that's even crazier that she was like,
mad.
yeah, I'm gonna marry you, but
by the way,
I have to get divorced first, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, it is class. And then obviously there was the outpouring. I've selected some tweets that again I think were indicative as to what he did and who he was. So Seth Rogen tweeted, "Thank you, Stan Lee, for making people who feel different realise they're special," which I really like. Seen one from Professor Broman, or Benjamin Broman, I think is his real name, Twitch streamer. "Thank you for the world you built and showing us no matter who we are, there's a hero inside us all." And then I'll leave my favourite to the end. So DC tweeted as well. "He changed the way we look at heroes, and modern comics will always bear his indelible mark. His infectious enthusiasm reminds us why we all fell in love with these stories in the first place. Excelsior Stan." That was, as I say, DC.
Yeah.
And then my favourite was Chris Evans. His was quite simple but nice. "There will never be another Stan Lee. For decades he provided both young and old with adventure, escape, comfort, confidence, inspiration, strength, friendship and joy. He exuded love and kindness and will leave an indelible mark on so many lives. Excelsior."
Yeah, I've actually found the Gene Simmons one here.
Uh-huh.
To Stan Lee, "Thank you for making my childhood so much more exciting with your astonishing superhero characters. Thank you for inspiring me to think and dream big. Thank you for the Hulk, Thor, Fantastic Four, and many others." Always a poet. He's a poet. Didn't even know. "You will be sadly missed. Rest in peace."
Very nice. That's class, isn't it?
I just think it's mad whenever I see it. I was scrolling through Twitter. I think it was earlier, or it was yesterday or something. I was just like, Gene Simmons has wrote something about Stan Lee. I was like, if he's made your life better with comics, then my God, you must be at least like, I don't even know what age that man is. Like,
He must be 70.
he's about 70 odd, I think.
So you're talking Stan Lee would have been 25. By the time he started reading comics, Stan Lee was probably in his 30s.
Yeah.
And by the time he was in his 30s, he was well on his way.
But can you imagine, right, being that young and having a 30-year-old Stan Lee sitting there? Like, I wouldn't know what that felt like.
I know.
And then for Gene Simmons to go, "I'm going to be in Kiss when I'm older." Like, they had a photo as well. I think they had a photo of Kiss, Stan Lee and Kiss and stuff on their van or something. Or
They're bound to have made an appearance in Marvel at some point.
You're
Bound to have. You know, like some silly wee like cameo comic or something.
I don't know. Like,
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
I think it'd be pretty funny if they did, to be fair.
Because they are the guys, you can imagine with the makeup and the hair and all that would make. Like, were they not in Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, for Scooby-Doo, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were in something at some point or another.
Got a couple of facts, because you know we like our facts over here, the wee podcast.
Facts. It's a fact.
It's a fact. It's a natural fact. His wife was also his barber, which
That's so cool.
which I told you beforehand. I think I read it somewhere in some article online. It was about his slick back hair all the time. Stan Lee revealed the secret of his slick back mane on the second page of his memoir. "My whole adult life I've never been to a barber. Joni always cuts my hair."
But who cut his hair before? Because they only got married at like 25.
I would assume a barber.
Telling Porky's then.
Why? It's not.
He is.
My whole adult life.
Yeah.
Well, what age is adult? 18?
18.
Yeah.
What
well,
did he do for 7 years?
yeah, he just lied to everyone there, then, didn't he? Really? He got his confidence from his mother. He wrote that as a child he loved to read books by Mark Twain, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, and others.
Classics.
And his mother, classics, just all those guys. And his mother often watched him read. He said, I probably got my self confidence from the fact that my mother thought everything I did was brilliant, which is just.
She wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy though, even to have that sort of. See, to have a parent like that in this day and age as well, where you would really need it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Like back then, I think you definitely did it like then, but I mean, for him to have that sort of confidence booster is crazy, especially from his mum as well, because I was saying he looked up to her quite a lot as well.
Yeah, I think where he'd be, or where he might not have been, had his mother been like, you put your pen down.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, by being supportive and stuff. Yeah. Young Stan Lee wrote obituaries.
Yeah.
It's kind of grim, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Was that celebrities, was it?
Yeah.
Somewhere about celebrities or something?
They wrote obituaries for celebrities at an undisclosed news office in New York.
Oh, right.
He said that he eventually quit the job because it was too depressing.
As you can imagine.
Yeah.
I've
Well, I mean,
watched
for a
him.
man, I could never imagine Stan Lee being a sad person. Like,
No.
he's
exactly.
like forever any interview he's in, he's always giving it his best. He's always happy, and for him to be in that sort of job to write sad little blurbs about people, it's just like kind of grim. As we both know, Captain America was his first big break. A week into his job at Timely Comics, I think you pretty much said the rest of this earlier on. Lee got the opportunity to write a 2-page Captain America comic. He wrote it under the name.
How long did it say?
2-page.
No, how long did it say it was into his time?
A week into his job.
2 years.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, it says a
He
week.
started in 1939 as an assistant and he wrote that in 41.
I was sure he got into the. Was it not?
He was given the chance after.
He got
So-
promoted.
Well, he was given the chance to write it in 41. Now, whether or not he'd been promoted and that was a new job, but he joined the company in 39 at 17 years old.
Yeah, but sure he got the thing at 19.
What? Oh, the editor's job?
Yeah, so a week into that job.
Was that a week?
Yeah.
I don't remember the dates. I would have to check. But it said he started there. Yeah, he definitely started in 39.
Mm-hmm.
He covered that in May 41. And it was...
August 1st, 1941.
So he wrote the Captain America thing in 1941, in May 1941. And he got the job in late 1941. So it must have been just before.
Yeah, it was August 1st it was released. So it must have been a week.
But he wrote it in May.
Well, he wrote it in May.
Cover dated May 1941, so that's when it went out.
So when did he get the job?
Late 1941, so like October.
Oh.
But he may well have just been promoted again, I don't know. It just says that he was given the job as interim editor at 19, so he was probably writing already
Yeah, probably.
at that point, because it says blah blah blah. Yeah, it just says he wrote it as a pseudonym under Stan Lee in May 1941.
Oh. It says that his first full comic script will come in Captain America issue 5.
Yep.
Which is on August 1st, 1941.
Yep. That's what I have to.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Got something correct anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that's not our fault. It's Mental Floss's fault. So, he wrote training films for the army with Dr. Seuss. Did you?
No, I didn't read that. No. No, it definitely wasn't in here. I just said he made training films. I had no idea it was Dr. Seuss.
Oh, there you go.
That's pure mad. Wonder what his real name was. Do you know?
Jimmy.
Thought that
James.
sounds like a James Seuss.
James Seuss.
You joking? Are you serious?
Being serious?
I don't think you are.
No, I'm not. His name is Theodore Giselle. Or Giselle.
Oh, so they just cut it away down to...
Yeah, better known as Dr. Seuss. Anyway, after being transferred from the Army Signal Corps in New Jersey, sorry, not even New York, that's completely wrong.
Love New York.
Yeah, so it's just you see New, you're like it's instantly New York. Lee worked as a playwright in the training and film division in Queens with 8 other men, including a few who went on to be very famous.
Right.
I don't know how to. Pulitzer Prize-winning author William Saroyan,
Don't know that.
cartoonist Charles Adams, creator of the Addams Family.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, director Frank Capra. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939. It's a Wonderful Life in 1946.
Oh, there you go.
And then Theodore Gesell, better known as Dr. Seuss.
That's mad.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So he was really amongst the elite. Whenever I read that earlier, I had no idea that that's who he was with.
Well, the only ones I would even know there would be obviously Dr. Seuss, Frank Capra because of A Wonderful Life, and Charles Adams.
Yeah. Addams Family.
Yeah.
That's class.
That's crazy.
That's so cool. He was really some esteemed company there.
Yeah.
I mean, where they were, I suppose, as well. But Dr. Seuss would probably be the...
Yeah, but you think of, there was 8 people there.
And they were 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
One over the other. Well, it was 9 in total, so one over the other 4 did.
Well, it's 4 of them, I think, wasn't it? 1, 2, no, yeah, 5, yeah.
4 plus him.
That's crazy.
What do the other 4 bums do? What do you ever do in your life?
They went in the army, that's what they did. There's one about the comic about the drugs and stuff here, but I think we pretty much covered the entirety of that.
Oh, that where you said about Harry Osborn and yeah.
Yeah, it just says about Harry. He just said he came up with the idea about Spider-Man's story that involved his best friend Harry Osborn abusing pills because of a breakup, and then he just convinced the publisher Martin Goodman to run
Get
the
it out
comic
there.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's the same fella, Goodman, that he took over from eventually in the 70s, yeah.
Yeah. An issue at the printers turned the Hulk green. The character was supposed to be grey, but according to Lee, the printer had a hard time keeping the colour consistent. So as of issue number 2, Lee wrote, with no explanation, he turned green.
That's so clever. I honestly think it would look weird grey anyway.
Sure, there was a grey Hulk, wasn't there? There's a grey Hulk and there's a red
Hulk and a green Hulk. Is there a grey Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Can't think who that is, but okay.
Yeah. His wife destroyed his prized typewriter. God damn it.
Of course she did.
According to Lee, during an argument, it's always the worst thing. Johnny destroyed the typewriter he used to write the first issues of characters, including Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four.
No.
This happened before eBay. He wrote, "Too bad I couldn't have auctioned the parts and made a mint."
Oh my word.
I don't know.
Why do
Like,
people do that? I've never had an argument in which somebody started breaking my stuff.
no.
And I have Lego quite openly in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And I
To be fair, I think if Lauren had broke my Xbox or something, I think she'd probably be dead.
she'd be auctioned off on eBay. One arm.
Yeah, an arm with that. Yeah, definitely. Like, but I mean, if I was the person that wrote the Spider-Man and Fantastic on a typewriter and it was destroyed, I'd be like, you know where you're going, don't you?
In the bin on
the
eBay.
bin. Yeah. A fire destroyed his interviews and lectures. When Lee moved his family to Los Angeles, he set up a studio in Van Nuys, is it?
Yeah.
Where he stored videotapes of his talks and interviews, along with commissioned a bust of his wife.
Oh no.
The building was lost to a blaze that the fire department believed was arson.
Oh, what a bunch of assholes.
But no one was ever charged with a crime.
Imagine what was in there.
Why would you? I wonder if they knew it was Stan Lee's residence as well, though.
Probably.
It wasn't even, it was a studio actually, so it wouldn't even be.
That's so annoying.
I hate people so much. Like,
do you ever watch that Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee on Netflix?
no.
It's decent. Watch one with Jim Carrey if you watch no other ones. It's really good. It sort of shows what his day-to-day life's like, and he's a proper header. Like instead of coming out of his gate, he climbs over like the wall.
So just so he doesn't get photographed.
I don't know. He just does it. Like he lets him know he's outside, and then next thing he just climbs over the fence, falls down. He's wearing sweats and a dirty t-shirt, and he gets in the car and they go for coffee. But like it's a 2-parter, and for him, and he takes.
It's with David Letterman, isn't it?
No, it's. As soon as you said that, I was completely gone.
Oh no, I know who it is.
Please say his name.
I can't remember his name. I know his face though.
I can picture him.
I know his face.
No.
J.J. Abrams.
No. Anyway. Oh god, this is gonna ruin my life. So now introducing, and then that's his new show. Anyway,
You can see the frustration on your face. It's like,
so
oh.
I can literally see him, and he's so famous. Oh my god.
No.
No. But anyway, he takes him. This is Jim Carrey. Takes him around. Basically, his art and shows him his art and all.
I think Jim Carrey's art's insane.
It's really, really good, and I would suggest if you get a chance that you watch it because it is actually quite good.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, I knew it began with J. Oh, yes. Okay, so Jerry before Seinfeld is what I was thinking of as the show. But anyway, the comedians in cars getting coffee. They get in a classic car and drive around. It's a good wee watch. Ricky Gervais is good too. But the Jim Carrey one, because we've obviously spoken about him a lot and you quite like him, it is worth a watch.
No, I don't.
And it does show you a bit more about the sort of internals of his life, you know. And it just brought me into thinking whenever we spoke about the fire. Imagine somebody destroyed his art, knowing it was his art, and burning it, even though it's Jim Carrey's work. And he probably wouldn't care because he'd be like, "Oh, do it again. It's fine." But like some of the art is
he
class.
posts it all on the Twitter as well. It's cool.
Yeah. But you should watch it. It's really, really cool.
I'm actually give it a watch. Yeah.
And you should see how nice he is. And as I say, I think they're short, like they're not long.
Yeah.
So it might be half an hour in total.
No, I think Jim Carrey gets an awful lot of stick as well.
But yeah, they're worth a watch.
Dead on. I'll have a wee check at that.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Last one. His favourite Marvel film cameo was based on one from the comics. Beginning with the first Spider-Man film, 2002. Makes sense, it's Spider-Man. Oh no, it's not. It's not a Spider-Man one. Okay. Stan Lee has made quick cameos in Marvel films as a service to the fans. I think it's a service to himself as well. To be fair, like I mean,
It's a contract.
yeah. Well,
No
there you go. Money.
He does get paid for it though.
Yeah. He said that his appearance in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer was inspired by the story of Reed and Sue Richards' wedding in Fantastic Four Annual Volume 1, Issue 3.
Yeah, they get married at the end of that. Not the.
Well,
film.
yeah.
No, in the actual film they get married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In which he and artist-writer Jack Kirby attempt to crash the ceremony but are thwarted.
Did they do that in the film? I don't remember that.
No, not in the film, in the
On the comic?
the comics. Yeah.
Oh, cool, I was going to say.
No, it must have
They must do it in the film as well.
Must have done it in the film.
I don't remember that, but I do remember they get married.
Doesn't make any sense. A version of the story around too. Oh, okay, there you go.
It must be. Must. We can look it up after.
Yeah. He's just a funny man, so I just stand there like only.
He was, and
He's very comedic.
he came up. What's your favorite cameo in the films?
Oh, don't.
you have a
That's
favourite?
not a fair question. To be fair, like.
I think one of the funnier ones is there a Tony Stank?
Is it the window with the
Right
package?
here. This is Tony Stank.
Yeah.
That one's
Tony
quite funny.
Stank.
That one's quite funny.
That's awful. They can't even say that question.
What's the wee one he did in was it Deadpool or Deadpool 2? Was a DJ?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
quite funny. What do you call that one? The one, it's Captain America Winter Soldier, where he takes his he goes in and as in Captain America steals back his outfit, and Stan Lee walks in. He goes, "Oh, I am so gonna get fired." It's so funny. Just every time you see him, it really is such a nice way. Like, oh, there he is. I'm so excited to see him.
That's one thing that really like. You go and see the film, you're like, I can't wait to see this. It's gonna be fantastic, and then you're like getting like halfway through the film and nothing's happening. You're like, where is he?
And the next thing he
just pops up and it's like, oh,
Brilliant,
pure
like.
class. I like him in the Avengers. The Avengers ones are funny. And, yeah, I don't know. He sort of brightened up the dark world for me as well.
Yeah, he's just excellent. He really is, and was, and you know, and the good thing is with his films, we have that forever.
Yeah,
you know, we can watch back and be like,
even the very last one as well with Avengers and
Yeah.
stuff. It's good that we've got all that sort of stuff to look forward to at the same time. You know, even though he's already gone, it's.
I hope it's his best one. I hope he does something amazing.
know.
Like, you know, it'd be amazing if it was whenever, say, everybody comes back to life. If they come back to life and he just goes, "Whoa," or something,
Yeah.
and he just like appears back. But then, can they use that? Is that distasteful?
No, because I think in some sense it's like he's going to live on forever.
What the heck was that?
Yeah.
You know, something like that there. It'd be funny.
I think I'll probably cry at that one, to be
Oh,
fair.
it'd be amazing.
If he does come back, I'll be like, oh, why?
I know. It would just be incredible, but that'll be very much
No.
like...
I wasn't talking about there, was it?
Oh, it was a wee No, it'll be the same way that we're going to see Carrie Fisher in episode 9.
Oh, and Thingamajig?
Star Wars, yeah.
And CGI thing,
No.
is it? Or is it? Oh, no, it's
Pre-shot.
That's right.
And
yeah.
from episode 7 they're going to use stuff.
That's awful.
So we're going to have to... Which would be amazing, because I really... Like, it wouldn't feel like a Star Wars film without her.
No.
And we know Mark Hamill's in it.
Yeah.
So...
This sucks, all these people getting so old.
It is really sad, because they are people that have formed, and we're not old, but they've formed like our childhoods and our lives, and our, in a way, like, you know, the way we think and the way we act to an extent, and what we enjoy, and conversations, friends we have, everything.
It's weird to even think like all the I mean they're like past their 50s or 60s, like, and these boys are, you know, they're still trying to impact people that are
like
even
95. You include,
but you still have these people though. You still have like kids and stuff like wanting to watch these films and stuff. I mean, they might not necessarily know they come from comics, but they're still listening. They're still watching the films.
Exactly, and it's funny because, you know, they may only have known, like, there will be people that are big fans that may have only known his work for 5 years, less, but it doesn't deter or take away from the impact or anything. And, you know, he believed the same. I mean, we love our facts, we love our stories, we love quotes.
Like our good stories, and
we do. And a nice quote that one that I find certainly is, he said, "Another definition of a hero is someone who is concerned about other people's well-being and will go out of his or her way to help them, even if there is no chance for reward. That person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because the right thing to do, is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero."
Yeah, I think you're right there. Like it's one of the nicest quotes, to be fair.
It really is, because it's just a way of him saying, you know, in the video at the start he says, we're all part of the world, we're all part of one world, blah blah blah. That's just one saying help each other. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not fancy. There's not a lot of big terms. There's no big words in there. Everyone can understand it. And basically he's saying, help each other out even if it doesn't benefit you, because that's what the world needs.
That's what you have to do, you know?
Yeah.
I like this one because there's an awful lot of people out there that I know celebrities like to have their own privacy and stuff, but it comes to a point where you're in the public eye now. So you are going to have people that are going to be like, oh, I love your work, I love you, and blah blah blah, I love you in this.
Yeah.
Can I have your autograph or blah blah blah? And you do get people that are like, no, I want to go away. And
there are.
Yeah.
There are,
but
for sure.
he
Mark Hamill doesn't sign autographs unless he has at like a convention or something. Like, he doesn't like people being able to copy his signature.
Which makes sense, yeah. But Stanley says there are people who like the work you've done because of that. They like you and you want your autograph and to take a photo. It's really gratifying. You have to be appreciative, which, I mean, if I think
it's the right attitude.
Yeah, it is the right attitude. But I mean, I think he understands as well, as a sort of coming from a sort of a nerdy kid and stuff. You know, like if he had seen his idols and stuff, he'd be the exact same way. So it just transcends, you know, from being young to being able to just sort of having the same sort of mindset.
If you think about it as well, these people, and I think some celebrities forget it sometimes, they are nothing without fans.
Yeah.
They aren't celebrities, they're just people.
Yeah.
And they feel without fans.
Yeah.
They don't have anything.
Yeah.
So whenever he says about, you know, he doesn't mind photographs, and just right, that's the right attitude.
Yeah.
Because again,
you have to be, that's what he says, you have to be appreciative.
You have to appreciate it, because again, without it, what are they?
Exactly.
They are just another fan. They aren't celebrities.
I mean, at the end of the day, it does come down to their, you know, sole abilities to get somewhere, which is fair enough. You have to become this person. Say if you are an actor, you have to be likable. You can't be a prick to get. You can't. I mean, some people might be like, "Oh, this guy's class," but I mean, if you're an actor or if you're, you know, musician or whatever, you can't be a playable. Like.
Even a streamer has to be a nice.
Well, yeah,
If
exactly.
they come across in a certain way, otherwise.
You should know about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
Exactly.
think
And
people
again,
do.
you're nothing without your subscribers. You're nothing without your fans.
Well, to be fair, YouTubers.
You're just a
do-
gamer.
A lot of YouTubers do say that they're nothing with their subscribers, but
Exactly.
sometimes you don't know if that's just a facade.
Could be.
You know what I mean? It's one of
literally.
those things. Oh no, I am. You know,
Exactly.
I am my own person. No, well, no.
You would have no money. If it
No,
wasn't for
if it wasn't for everyone,
Yeah.
giving you all your money for Patreons.
Exactly. Just another one from, obviously we're sticking with Stan here. She says, my theory about why people like superheroes is that when we were kids, we all loved to read fairy tales. And fairy tales were all about things bigger than life. Giants, witches, trolls, dinosaurs and dragons and all sorts of imaginative things. Then you get a little bit older and you stop reading fairy tales, but you don't ever outgrow your love of them.
Sort of brings us back to that video earlier on as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And
With Spooderman.
yeah, you can be anyone. It doesn't matter whether you're 95 or 6
Yeah.
years old. Literally 6, not 96. But whether you're 90, whether you're 6 or 95 or any age in between or any younger or older,
Yeah.
whatever, they all. And I have to admit, I 100% agree. It was sort of funny. My mum said the other day, she was just like, it's coming up to Christmas. You sort of get too old for toys. I'm like, no, I'm not. Don't you ever say that?
Who?
I know. I was like, well, looks like I'm going to have to find you one of you for Christmas. No,
My word.
yes, and I was just like,
Too old?
yeah.
For what toys? Like Lego?
No,
Is she talking about Lego?
I don't know.
That Lego's like, I know it says between 3 and like 13 or whatever, but I mean,
Yeah, but
if you add them together, then multiply them by 2, it's
if you multiply them by each other, it makes 39. I've
Well,
got
there
at
you
least
go.
14 more years. But you know what I mean? Like,
just keep multiplying every time you get it. See? Just write on it.
it comes with
34.
0 on the end of the 1 or the 0, 1, 3, 0. But it comes-
130 years old. Yeah.
But there is Lego that hits like something to 99. Have you ever seen the picture of the 100-year-old woman holding it like?
No.
She's sad.
Whatever. No, I haven't seen
See,
that.
a woman or a man? I can't remember what's
No.
born.
No, I just
But,
want to get all the Stan Lee Lego, just put it up somewhere.
Class.
It will skyrocket in price though as well.
It's so true, yeah, it will, but it's just so true that what you said there, you just don't outgrow your love. Like, some people feel like they're too mature for it, some people just don't enjoy it, and that's fine. But I just think that whether I'm the age I am now, whether I'm younger, whether I'm alive 50 years from now, I just don't think it make any difference.
No, definitely not. But it's like we can understand, like we're the generation to have that. We are the generation that's going to be the likes of idiots with an Xbox 900
Probably.
and TVs that are the size of the walls and stuff. Like you're not going to have.
I really
that.
hope so. With
Jesus.
perfect latency.
Not 0.2 billion or whatever. I've got this quote as well that I've seen quite a lot on social media. I think you know this one as well. He says, I used to be embarrassed because I was just a comic book writer while all the people were building bridges or going on medical careers. And then I began to realise entertainment is one of the most important things in people's lives. Without it, they might go off the deep end. I feel that if you're able to entertain people, you're doing a good thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I think. But we were talking about this before as well, that I remember like loads of people back in like school and stuff, and they're all like, you know, why would you do drama, blah blah blah, and all this here sort of correct. Well, then do you watch TV?
Yeah.
Do you watch films? Do you
Exactly.
listen to music? You know,
They did drama.
exactly. They all did. The majority of them did drama classes and stuff, and they all sort of had the teaching. People saying like, why do you play drums? Why do you play guitar? Do you listen to music?
Yeah. Exactly. I wish I'd done more drama in school, honestly. Really do. I've been so much more dramatic than I am now. No, I literally do. I wish I did so much more of it. It's just, I feel like other than just being able to act and stuff, that
It gives you more confidence. As well.
yeah, and you would have more. I don't really know what the word is, but like, no, I'm not even gonna get there. But I know what I mean. Whenever I say you'd have more about you in the way that, like, you know, maybe you know how to read people. You know, you would maybe know how to.
Like deal with situations a bit better and stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
and like there's just, I don't know, as you're saying, that the whole confidence thing and being able to speak in public and I mean, without it sounding the way it's gonna, because I don't really know how else to say it, but you almost would learn how to act and react, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So if you didn't really know what to do in a situation, you still might know I did this before, let's do this is probably right, you know, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah, drama always interested me, but I just never did it, because none of my friends did it,
Yeah.
which
Well-
is a shame.
I mean, it's sort of one of those things that back in school, once someone did, you're like, well, I suppose I'll go and do that then, won't I? Whereas, I suppose you have to have your own sort of way in some your own sort of path. But it's good that he realised eventually that, you know, at the end of the day, he's doing people a service. He's making them happy with his comics and his jokes and stuff. So it's not like it's going to be wasted.
Exactly.
Which I think people in the entertainment industry should really know and sort of remember, instead of be like, oh well, you know, I'm not really in a real job. It's still a real job. It's just not a 9-to-5 job.
You're
Define a real
one of the
job.
lucky few.
Yeah,
That's all it
exactly.
is.
Yeah.
And I think, although I've realised more often, younger actors seem to realise that now.
Yeah.
That like they're like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this.
John
Like,
Boyega was a huge one, but he was like
Tom Holland's a big one.
Yeah, he's very, very
All these sort of new, Latita Wright, you know, all these young actors and actresses.
Even
Well,
Daisy Ridley to some extent as well. She
big
was
time, from Casualty to, or was it Holby City? I can't remember.
I think it was Holby City. Yeah.
Was it?
I think so.
To what she is now, and you know, Adam Driver was in some films, but now he's
blown up. Yeah.
you know. But you look
He's
at
a
these.
fantastic actor though
He
as
is
well.
excellent.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he is excellent.
Him and Logan Lucky, I think, was absolutely
I
fantastic.
haven't seen that film yet. You know,
Brilliant
apparently it's
film.
brilliant. But yeah, like, you know, you see all these actors now. I think that is a blanket term. I don't think you have to say actress anymore.
No,
I
actors.
think actor is just a blanket term.
But you never know in this day and age. You know.
But I'm just gonna say actor because I just assume that it means all genders that want to be involved. But like, you see them all now being a bit more like, even in interviews on like, I don't know, like Graham Norton or whatever.
But I think Graham Norton, you always find people to be very, very,
genuine, relaxed.
genuine and humble.
Mm.
Like they sort of need to be. I think for some reason, I don't know why, but it's
comes
very
across
different from all.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, it's like you're all sitting there. Where it's different, whereas you're on like Jonathan Ross or something. It's very different.
Yeah, but he tries to sort of, I don't know, his is slightly different. It's sort of different tone, whereas I feel like sort of Graham Norton handles it well. And
It's
I
like
only
he
found out
brings
the
them all
other day
around.
he was in Father Ted. I had no idea.
Yeah, he was
I
one of
had no
the
idea.
priests.
I had no idea
Really?
until today.
Oh,
I said the other day, I meant today.
yeah.
Literally, what day is this? 12th, 13th? 13th November? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. Anyway, this is my last quote. I don't know if you have any more after.
I have 0 more quotes, but
Cool.
you've got plenty that you should all go and check out anyway.
Yeah. This is well, I suppose this is a really fitting last one. So here we go. So he says, you know, my motto is Excelsior. That's an old word that means upward and onward to greater glory. It's on the seal of the state of New York. Keep moving forward, and if it's time to go, it's time. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah. It's kind of a grim quote.
I like it because
I like it as well, but it is
it
very...
means to me that sort of says he's fine with it.
Yeah.
You know, he is gonna know that his time has came, obviously yesterday, Monday 12th, and from what I'm gathering from that is he's fine with it. If it's time to go, it's time, and he lived a good life. He's gonna be with his wife, and wherever they are, and he's fine with it. And what he leaves will be, as we've spoken about, Disney's legacy before, amongst others.
It's one thing we didn't even mention about Stanley. We just didn't think it was even fathomable, to be honest, did we?
No, it's funny. You just never thought it was gonna end.
Yeah.
You never thought he was ever gonna go.
Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna die before he was gonna die.
Yeah, if anything, like, if I was going to kill you before you even...
But just the way he just seemed like he was forever.
Yeah.
And
But to be fair, he is. I mean, he is going to live on forever throughout his comics. Like,
100%.
he's always going to be that fella that created everyone.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I mean?
all the ones that have made billions in the cinema, billions through comic book sales, all that sort of stuff, and
Merchandise and
everything, and touched uncountable lives.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, you know, innumerable people from when this started way back to we don't know when,
No.
the end of time, I would assume. you know, everything that he's done and created will be built upon, and as long as it sticks with the same values and the same principles, then yeah, he's
Should have
never
continued success.
he's never truly going to be gone.
No.
He's in every page of every comic and every scene of every film
Yeah.
that we watch from now until
Our end of time.
the end of our time. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll leave it there with that quote, folks. Thanks for joining us on this special episode. It's a big 51 for us, so
Didn't feel right to mention it, did it?
No, but you know, it's a big milestone for us, and what better episode could we have really done it on for, you know, Stan Lee? So yeah, folks, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Excelsior.